Here we are, a year since the passing of our dear Eric Samson of blessed memory. I remember speaking from here inside the Great Park Synagogue in Johannesburg last year at this time, the place where Eric and Sheila were married when the shul was in Walmerin Street. We spoke then at the time of Eric's Shloshim memorial service about how this synagogue and the Jewish values that it represents set the tone for the establishment of the remarkable legacy that Eric and Sheila created together. A legacy of family, of loyalty, of generosity, a legacy of kindness and vision, and of making this world into a better place. We gather on Eric's Yahrzeit, the anniversary of the Hebrew date of his passing, to mark the passage of the last 12 months. This past year has been evidence of the vibrancy of the legacy that he created, a legacy that continues to thrive and grow under the direction of Sheila and their children and grandchildren. On this day in particular, his soul is elevated through all our good deeds done in his honor and for his soul, which is at its greatest strength and glory, shining forth even more so today. So let me begin by wishing Arichut Yamim, a long life, to Sheila, to Jeffrey and Ilana, and to Dorothy and Leonard, and to Frankie and Stephen, and to all the grandchildren and great-grandchildren. On this Yahrzeit, we wish you long life, but we also pay tribute to all of you because you have demonstrated how the incredible work that Eric did in his life is continuing in the most inspiring way. So we gather at this Yahrzeit to pay tribute to Eric and to his memory, but we do so in the spirit of humility that he would have wished, which was not about praise of him, but rather about our resolve to do good. We recognize, acknowledge, and look at the organizations and the individuals who have shown such leadership over the last 12 months in continuing his work. And then we look forward to the next 12 months as we resolve to continue to carry out this selfless work of this remarkable family and the values and ethics of Eric Samson of blessed memory.
More than a business person, Eric was a philanthropist. There was much that I admired and much that I learned from his acumen and from his passion for his business. But it was his philanthropic work that I really got to appreciate Eric Samson's character, his sense of community, and his generosity.
Whether it's Herzliya School and a Jewish Life and Learning program, whether it is any institution like Highlands House, where so many of our aged were well looked after during the COVID crisis. None of this would have been possible without the support of the Samson family. Whatever cause could be found, Eric and the Samson family were there.
You had to meet him. He was our supporter. He was there at Mandela's children's parties, and Mr. Mandela, on every birthday of his, he insisted that we host children. So there would be any 500 children in the yard, and Mrs. Samson would come. No fanfare, no reporters, no cameras, just bringing a check to support the children he saw. He made us remember to be humble.
Eric's light will always be with us, as he was no ordinary light. Eric was a wonderful man, a man of values, a man of honor.
Eric Samson, my friend of 30 years, is in the loving embrace of his maker. We often debated the nature of things, from business and the economy to Jewish peoplehood and Israel. When it came down to it, we were as one on all the important things in life: family, friendships, responsibility and accountability, the Jewish people and care for one's fellow man. For Eric, this was serious business, and I learned that from him, and I took it seriously too. His legacy is to teach us that it is not ritual and sacrifice that builds our relationship with God. It is one's love of one's fellow.
Eric knew that Israel as a community is only as strong as its weakest link. That's why he put so many efforts into helping those who need it the most here in Israel. He also knew that Israel's strength as the nation state of the Jewish people relies heavily on its standing among the family of nations. And to his last day, he did not stop working to strengthen that position.
When you travel in Israel, you see the fingerprints of Eric and Sheila everywhere. For me, Eric was a mentor when I was serving in the Knesset, the government, and as Israel's ambassador to the UN. We always met and spoke about the future of Israel, the future of the Jewish people. He always told me, build more bridges, visit more countries, engage, don't be shy.
I don't recall any other philanthropist in the world who managed to touch the life of so many unique projects. It is unique in the history of Israel.
As the Cleveland Clinic CEO and president, I got to witness Eric's generosity. Because of him, we've been able to do extraordinary things. I am standing in the Samson Pavilion, a unique and monumental contribution to healthcare education. Eric believed in the power of creating opportunities for those seeking better ways to help others. He was a giant who will always be remembered and celebrated at the Cleveland Clinic.
Eric and Sheila Samson have devoted so much of their lives to helping others, to helping Jewish causes, to helping science, to helping humanity. They are incredible human beings.
Through Eric and Sheila's contribution, they helped to build classrooms, to build libraries in schools. Eric Samson has been honored and applauded for a lifetime of achievement. Yet I would argue some of his greatest achievements still lie in the future. His legacy will be felt for years and decades to come.
There was never a day, no matter how busy Dad was, and even as his health declined, where his top priority was never our mother. I can't help but reflect on the amazing annual trips Dad organized for us all. Dad was a truly devoted, loving, and incredible husband, father, grandfather, great-grandfather, family man, friend, business associate, community leader, and ambassador to the Jewish community.
You were so special to me, and we shared so much together from childhood until now. You always cared so deeply about me and my family, and were so kind and generous, and I will never forget this.
May your life continue to inspire us all. May your legacy endure.
I will remember Eric as a gentleman. I will remember him as a benefactor. I will remember him as a mensch. And most of all, I'll remember him as a very dear friend.
Eric Samson was an incredible person, warm, generous, charming, witty, precise.
He was very understated, but very powerful.
He was so genuine, so humble, and just a kind individual. You could just see how much he cared about people.
I met Eric Samson and Sheila Samson over 20 years ago. Eric came in and became a patient of my husband. He had a cardiac issue, so he needed a cardiologist, and I was very lucky that he chose me as his cardiologist. Over the years, they became our friends.
When I first started my practice, everyone said, well, don't ever become friends with patients. So with Eric, he and his wife Sheila, both very charming people, I could tell that they loved forming a relationship with their doctor. It was just a special relationship.
One of their big things is that they're philanthropists at heart. It was not surprising when they said that they wanted to do philanthropy at Hoag Hospital. He wanted us to think big and sort of reach for things larger than ourselves.
I feel very blessed that over the years we got to know Eric and Sheila, and I consider them family. Our deepest condolences to Sheila, Frankie, Jeff, Dorothy, their spouses, their kids, grandkids, and they also have, I think, a couple of great-grandchildren. He has left behind a tremendous legacy, and the family carries on in that spirit, and it's wonderful to see that.
It's really a great pleasure for Sheila, myself, and the family to be involved with Israel in the way we are at the moment. I can tell you now that it gives us such pleasure and joy.
Eric Samson was one of the greatest philanthropists for Israel in the last 100 years. He was a visionary, a builder, and a leader. As a strong supporter of the Jewish state, the people of Israel were always on his mind. Together with Sheila, his loving wife and devoted partner for never-ending generosity, they funded diverse projects that improved the lives of hundreds of thousands of Israelis. One of the essential projects Eric made possible was the first public hospital in Ashdod, serving 500,000 people. Thanks to Samson's substantial donation, anyone in Ashdod and its vicinity can get the most advanced medical services close to home. In Ashkelon, suffering from rocket attacks for many years, the Samsons funded the construction of a fully sheltered and equipped modern hospital wing in the Barzilai Medical Center. Allows medical care for patients along the southern border of Israel, even while under attack. One of Eric's last projects was restoring Independence Hall, the historic building where the establishment of the State of Israel was announced, and the Declaration of Independence was signed. This important landmark of Israel's heritage, located on Rothschild Boulevard in Tel Aviv, is being fully renovated and restored. The construction is in full swing and close to completion, thanks to the Samson support. A decade ago, long before others did, Eric and Sheila realized the importance of smart mobility for all of humanity and the economic potential it holds for Israel. They created a prestigious international award for groundbreaking innovation in smart mobility and alternative fuels for transportation. Thanks to the award and the innovation created with it, smart mobility has become a worldwide reality. All this progress was made possible by the Samsons' pioneering vision, compassionate generosity, and big Zionist heart.
I was fortunate enough to meet and get to know Eric, and he inspired us all with his kindness and commitment to the Jewish people and to Israel. His impact through Keren HaYesod drastically improved lives here in our homeland. We're committed to promoting and advancing his legacy for generations to come. May his memory be a blessing. Yehi zichro baruch.
You know, you really put your money where your hearts are and where your mouth is. But it's something that you share, a commitment that you share with all of us.
Brothers for Life is created and run by injured IDF combat soldiers. Thanks to Samson's substantial donation, the organization can give critical and immediate help to young Israelis who put their lives on the line for the safety of Israel and the entire Jewish nation.
The Samson legacy must carry on because of my children and grandchildren all being involved in charity, which I'm so proud of, that they're following my footsteps, and I've managed to instill in them the idea of giving, and especially to the state of Israel.
My message I dedicate to my Papa is this: do not seek greatness for yourself, and do not covet honor. Practice more than you learn. Papa never did anything for recognition or praise. All he wanted was to share love of people and better the world we live in. His humility was unparalleled and practiced every day, something he taught me and that I will always treasure. He taught me the value of remaining humble, always, whether in business, charitable endeavors, or in his personal life. He was just Papa Eric to me, even though I know how he was so much more to the world.
The sages remind us to approach one another in humility, ready to learn and be open to compassion. Let the honor of your friend be as dear to you as your own. Rabbi Eliezer, Pirkei Avot. There are few people in life in this world that have such a profound effect on so many, with generosity that knew no bounds. My Papa Eric was one of those people. He was that rare soul who cared so deeply about making a positive impact in the Jewish community and for Israel. He was truly selfless in that way, and throughout it all remained so humble and with great humility, shying away from any recognition. Growing up with Papa Eric, it was hard to conceptualize that he was this great figure in the community because he was so humble in his interactions with others and us grandkids. When I think of him, the most cherished and profound memories are of us being together in the most humble settings, like him sneaking us candies as we followed behind him so no one could see, our family braais, not much made him happier than a perfectly cooked steak, and our beloved trips to Israel, where we would just hang out and do nothing all together. Papa, thank you for the lifelong lesson I've learned in humility and charity, and I hope and strive to continue living by your example.
The sages also emphasize the importance of actions over simply studying or speaking about wisdom. Study is not the most important thing, but actions. For me, this phrase carries two important meanings. Firstly, Papa Eric always emphasized the importance of a proper education and studying, and was so proud to see his grandchildren go into universities for bachelor's and master's degrees. And while education and studies were, and still are, incredibly important, one's character and actions are paramount. We've all heard the adage of actions speak louder than words. To me, this was Papa Eric. You knew that if he promised something, there would be no question on follow-up, and better yet, his actions would be carried out swiftly and quietly, almost as if it was an effort to keep the focus on the task at hand rather than his involvement. Papa Eric instilled the importance of actions and following through with promises in myself and my cousins, and we will continue to carry this forward in everything we do, as well as teach our children these important life lessons.
My grandfather was the wisest man who taught me so many valuable lessons about life, giving and looking out for others. While these were regular things we spoke about, I learned their true importance and impact from what he did. His philanthropic actions spoke far louder than his words, and I saw his impact across the world. I learned the values of Gimilut Chasadim, not only from what he said, but what he did in his endeavors to make the world a better place.
Who is wise? He who learns from every man. My grandpa was a person who valued the process of learning in more ways than one. Firstly, he strongly valued education. He made it a priority that all of his grandchildren were given a well-rounded education. Not only were his grandchildren's education a priority, but so were the education of countless other students he supported. It makes me proud that his grandchildren and others were able to be first-generation college students. His value for education pushed me to pursue one of the greatest challenges I have taken on, achieving 2 different master's degrees. Beyond this, my grandpa was the type of person to learn from people around him. He had the unique ability to always learn in a collaborative manner, whether that was in business or in a social setting. Lastly, he was always striving and learning to be more empathetic, compassionate, and giving. This is a specific trait that I admire most and make a priority in our home with my husband Aviv and our daughter Ruby. May we continue to have the ability to plant the seeds that foster a positive, safe, and healthy learning environment for her and our future children so that they can grow and flourish.
The verse that reminds us of our late grandfather, Papa Eric, is, "In a place where there are no men, strive to be a man." Our grandfather was continuously striving to be a man, to be a good person, to be a mensch, and this was no matter who was around him, no matter what anyone else was doing, he would always stand up. He would give charity, he would give it anonymously, not letting people around him see what he contributed. And so many stories have come out where we've learnt of the amazing deeds that he had done. And he just would treat everyone in the same manner, no matter who was around. He was continuously striving to be the very, very best person that he could be, and standing up for Am Yisrael, for the Jewish people, and for beautiful Torah values.
And what our late Papa Eric has instilled in all of us is to, just like him, to be the man. And for us, it's not just about being any man, it's about being the man that the late Papa Eric was. A man that instilled so much love and care and devotion to his family and all those around him. And that's what we all strive to do, to be the man when no one's looking, when everyone's looking, and to constantly be a mensch like Papa Eric.
We learned that one who stays awake at night or travels alone on the road and turns his heart to idleness has forfeited his life. My Papa Eric lived his life to the fullest, surrounding himself with his loved ones and checking on them. Before I moved to be closer to him, Papa would call to remind me he was thinking of me, and this instilled in me the importance of family and keeping them close. He was always on the phone to friends and family around the world, concerned about their well-being and offering advice. We spent countless holidays together, and Shabbos was always spent together talking, laughing, and sharing stories. He used his time on earth so well, and I hope to continue his legacy by doing the same. Make every moment count.
Who is wise? He who learns from others. One of the greatest things I admire about my Papa was that he valued every single person he encountered. No one was less important to him, and he would spend time getting to know everyone he encountered. He knew that he could learn something from everyone, and I miss all those lessons he shared with me. From him, I learned the importance of greeting and getting to know all those I cross paths with. To always have patience and to know that everyone has something to teach you.
Speak little but do much, and receive all men with a pleasant countenance is so appropriate to the way that my grandfather lived his life. Firstly, he was a person of action. He was just focused on getting things done behind the scenes, with no need for any kind of acknowledgement. He was just the ultimate doer. And then when you speak about receiving all men with a pleasant countenance, this was something that stood out to so many people about my grandfather. He would, even as one of his grandchildren, he would see any one of us and his face would light up and he'd have the biggest smile and he'd say, "Oh, Gabby, darling," and just radiated this unique warmth. And I think everybody that knew him felt this about him. The warmth and kindness that he would greet with, and it was just something so natural to him, so unique to him, and something that we could all take forward and learn with, to just make people feel acknowledged in the way that he did.
When I think of my grandfather, the image that always comes to mind is of him smiling. He was the kind of person who used a smile to change the world and never let the world change a smile. He greeted each person as if they were a close friend, always being the first to say hello with an inviting grin. His happiness was contagious. He was also a man of his word, but his actions spoke louder. He was able to achieve so much and help so many by seeing the value of his actions. He has taught me the power of action, the importance of keeping to one's word, and that a smile can touch a heart. I hope that I can continue to learn from his incredible traits for many years to come.
There's an amazing initiative called Kindness to the Power of 10, which centered on Eric's birthday, and you have continued to support all of the remarkable work that he did in his lifetime. The legacy that Eric created together with Sheila, amongst many other inspiring initiatives. It is such a solid legacy that it continues even now, even after Eric's passing. And that is the symbol of something truly vibrant, enduring, and exceptional.
Beyond measure from all at Yale.
In loving memory of Eric Samson, Zichrono Livracha, of blessed memory, Ezriel ben David B'Minan, of blessed memory. The projects by the Academy of Jewish Thought and Learning in his merit and memory. Over the past year, we have not only mourned the loss of Eric Samson, but we have also been inspired by his vision, courage, humility, and desire for unity. The following projects are those which we conducted in his merit. We hope and we pray that the projects that we have run this year, in some small way, will be a merit to Eric's neshama, a comfort to Sheila, and to his children, and the broader Samson and Cohen families. All of Am Yisrael has been bereft of a visionary leader, but more than that, a person of immense humility, a person of tremendous love for the Jewish people, and a person who put his energy, his time and his soul into us. May his memory truly be a blessing for all of us, and further, may it be an inspiration.
I'd like to mention what a huge honor it is for me that Eric Samson was my partner in the Shabbos project from its very early days. He saw the vision of what it could achieve and how it could spread around the world, and I took great strength from his belief in me and in the project. He was a staunch believer in the values of the project, in global Jewish unity, in the power of Jewish heritage and Shabbat in particular, to be the source of Jewish inspiration and Jewish unity in the world. He took great pride and joy as the Shabbos project grew from year to year, to more cities and more countries, spreading inspiration, joy and love in the world. He would have been so proud that this year the Shabbat project reached more people through more unity events than ever before.
We are honored to gather here today at the Kotel HaMa'aravi, in the heart of Jerusalem and the most sacred place in the world. We are here as IDF soldiers, BFL brothers, and the extended family of Eric Zichrono Livracha and Sheila, Frankie and Stephen, Dorothy and Leonard, Jeffrey and Ilana. Thank you for giving us this great privilege to say Kaddish here at the heart of the Jewish people for your beloved patriarch. There are 10 of BFL members here to say Kaddish, and there are over 1,000 more of us all over Israel who are with you and join us symbolically in this prayer. May his pure neshama have a great aliyah on this day. Amen.
יתגדל ויתקדש שם רבה, ועלמא דברך ירוד אל אמת וברותה, ויצמח פורקנה ויקרא משיחי, וחייכון ובימכון ובחיי לכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. יהיה שם רבה מבורך, לעלה ולמניה, יתברך, וישתבח, ויתפאר, ויתרומם, ויתנשא, ויתהדר, ויתעלה, ויתעלה שמי דגודשה בריחו, לעילה מן כל ברכתה, שירתה תשבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן בעלמא, ואמרו אמן. על ישראל ועל רבנן ועל תלמידי הון, ועל כל תלמידי הון, ועל כל מאן דעסקין באורייתא, די באתר דין וכל אתר ואתר, יהא להון ולכון שלמה רבה, חינה וחסדה ורחמי וחיי יאריך יום מזנה ורוויחי ופורקנה מן קדם אבון דבשמיא והרע ואמרו אמן. יהא שלמה רבה מן שמיא, חיים טובים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עשה שלום במרומיו ויעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. אמן.
And so, as this Yahrzeit service comes to a conclusion, we will end by reciting and praying together the Haskara, the special memorial prayer in Eric's honor. El malei rachamim, shochein b'maromim, hamtzei menucha nechona al kanfei hashchina, b'malos kadoshim utorim kazara kiyamazirim, es nishmas Reb Ezriel ben David shehalach לעולמו, בעבור שכולנו מזכירים את נשמתו בגן עדן תהי מנוחתו, לכן בעל הרחמים יסתירהו בססר כנפיו לעולמים, ויצרור בצרור החיים את נשמתו, אדוני הוא נחלתו, וינוח בשלום משכבו, ונאמר אמן. As this Yahrzeit service comes to an end, we look towards the future and take this opportunity as the South African Jewish community, as well as family and friends from around the world, to rededicate ourselves to the year ahead, to create even more mitzvahs, more kindness, more light and joy, and to continue to make this world a better place. Looking ahead, we aim to learn more about the values with which Eric lived his life and how he, on a daily basis, exemplified the essence of true Jewish values. Pirkei Avot is a distillation of the values that God gave at Mount Sinai, which were handed down from generation to generation. It is about ethics and tradition. The word Avot means parents, fathers and mothers who ensured the uninterrupted transfer of Jewish values. In the same way, the values inherent in the Samson legacy have been passed down, midor ledor, from generation to generation.
Good evening, everyone. You know, if there's one book in the Torah that teaches you how to be a mensch and how to succeed in life, it's Pirkei Avos. Look at the very first Mishnah. The first Mishnah is a 5-step program on how to transform your life. From Moses, you learn humility. You cannot grow without being humble. From Joshua, you learn perseverance, persistence. Never give up. From the elders, you learn always look at the bigger picture. From the prophets, you learn identify opportunity and see the unintended consequence. And from the men of the Great Assembly, you learn make a difference. Make a difference in your own life, in your city, in your country, and indeed the world. Eric Samson was an embodiment of these 5 principles. He never criticized, he rolled up his sleeves, and he made a difference. And that's why when we were asked to do a program honoring his life, we chose Pirkei Avos, which we were just about to launch. So to you, Sheila and family, on this very auspicious day, we wish you long life. The Torah tells us that death doesn't end a relationship. When you think of a soul in heaven, it thinks of you. When you pray for it, it prays for you. All the good deeds that Eric, Sheila, and family are doing are felt throughout the entire world. And it's this moment. May Hashem comfort you all in every way. And we undertake to do so much more to honor this great, great human being.
The ideal way to pay tribute to Eric Samson's memory and to re-inspire ourselves in the year ahead until the next Yahrzeit is to be invigorated through the powerful teachings of Pirkei Avot, to do even more mitzvahs and spread more kindness. So I'm excited that we have an opportunity on this occasion to launch a wonderful Pirkei Avot learning program to take place on Zoom. Details of these sessions can be found at the Legacy website at ericsamsonlegacyfund.org/Pirkei Avot. Join in to learn 18 Mishnahs, 18 teachings of the Talmud by 18 rabbis. 18 in Hebrew is known as Chai, which means life. And Pirkei Avot, Ethics of the Fathers, gives us a life of values. As it says in the Torah, V'chai bahem, and you shall live by them. And it also says, Ubacharta b'chayim, and you shall choose life. Now is the time to infuse our journey with the values which will guide us on the path of life. So come along, join the live Zoom opportunities, participate, watch the recordings. Let's learn chapter 1 of Pirkei Avot together. We're going to be enriched by the wisdom that will emanate from the 18 different rabbis, the 18 different life lessons. One of the most significant lessons in the first chapter of Pirkei Avot is V'lo hamidrashu ha'ikar ela ha'maaseh. It is not the teaching that is the main thing, but the deeds, the doing, the action. Chapter 1 also teaches us, Emor me'at v'aseh harbei, say little and do much, because actions do speak louder than words. And that's who Eric Samson was. He was a man of action. And through his family, that legacy continues and is strengthened in their perpetual action. So let's bring together this wisdom and action, the divine wisdom of Sinai and the call to action in Pirkei Avot. Let's learn, let's live, let's be inspired, and most importantly, let's do it together to uplift this world into a better place. In Eric's memory, Ezriel ben David, may his memory be a blessing. Yehi zichro baruch.